because I was the strongest, but because I was willing. I did not walk by sight, I walked by faith. Every step I took was for freedom and for my people. The journey is not over. You are the ones now, because freedom is still calling. Free black women, free powerful legacy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you with us today. I'm Karol V. Brown-Jones, and I think you've met some of our ladies who are on our program today. We have Linda Feagin, Joyce Barnes, and Atiara Gordon. So we're just saying we are ready to get going. But like you said, we'll see who's here in the house. See, we have people from all over. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And I want to thank you all for taking the time for this Sunday afternoon. I know there was plenty of activities going on, people out of town, family reunions, but we have you for an hour and we want to make sure this hour was worth your time. And we want to stay on time. So I just want to begin with first, again, welcoming you and introducing to you our first speaker. Now, I just want to say we're also on Facebook Live. So if anyone's there joining us, I know it's a little delay, but we will get any information that we share here with our people in Zoom as far as what we're putting in the chat. We will get that into the chat and Facebook as well. Okay, so faith, freedom, and financial future. Some of you may have been with us in March when we did a similar program, and Linda and I and Joyce introduced these three women to you and showed some video of them. Well, today we're starting again with Linda, and she's going to talk about faith. Linda?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm so happy to be here. You know, Sojourner Truth made these words. She said, it's the first woman God ever made, was strong enough to turn this world inside out, all by herself. Then all you women's here ought to be able to turn it inside out. And that was one of the last words that she spoke in her famous Ain't I a Woman? And I want to say, what is the relevance of Sojourner Truth? We know that she was born like in 1797. She was uneducated. She couldn't read or write. But she had the faith to trust in God to lead her, to use her voice for mankind to make a difference in women's rights and about slavery. Now, let's say something about her name. Sojourner Truth, she was not born with that name. She was called Isabella Blumfree. Another thing is she never lived in the South. She was born right in New York and spoke Dutch. So when they rewrote this Ain't I a Woman, someone else wrote it in the dialect like they thought that someone from the South. But she spoke Dutch and had to learn English. She grew up in New York. She was slaves to Dutch persons. And you know, New York is in the north, and it's important because it also expands our knowledge of where we thought slavery was. But one thing about her is that she always had this spiritual experience and background about faith. She said her mama taught her how to pray when she was young, and when she was to get beat at the age of 13, she would go out into the woods and she would pray to the Lord, do you hear me? And she was a hard worker. You got to understand something about Sojourner. She was a tall woman, a big woman. Sometimes when she was speaking, people tried to accuse her of being a man. So not only was she attacked as being a woman and being black, but they also tried to accuse her of a man. And in one of her speeches, she was bold enough to open up her blouse to show that she was a woman. And that's a true story. But what I want to say about her is this. Number one, she first took her step toward slavery, toward freedom by her faith is when she prayed to the Lord. And she went and asked her master. And see, in New York, I want to set the tone because you see, you talking about New York, they were passing a law like in 1865 that if your slave had been a slave for so many years in New York, they could be set free. So she wanted that opportunity. Now, the other parts of the country didn't know about that. And so she went to her owner and he told her he would. So she worked hard because one of her parts of her speech, she would say, I can work as hard as any man if they let me. And then when she went to him, when she knew that her time was up, he denied it. So she prayed to the Lord and she she decided that she was going to walk away or run away with her baby Sophia. She had about 5 children at that time. And what she did, she said, I'm afraid of the dark, but I'm going to trust in the Lord. And she began to walk her way down to a road where she knew some Quakers lived there. And then she tells how she got her name, Sojourner. She said she was talking with the Lord and she knew that he was calling her to preach. And she had to walk. And it came to her one day, the scripture, that she was a sojourner, that she will walk and go forth and preach, walk by foot and preach. So that's how she got her first name, Sojourner. And then she said she talked to the Lord and he said, she said, Lord, I want, one lady asked me my name. I told her my name was Sojourner. And she said, Sojourner what? And so she said, Lord, I need a second name. And then she said, she remembered the scripture, the truth shall set you free. And she began to do that. So not only did she had a woman of faith, but she was a woman of courage to walk away. And one of the things that showed her courage that most of you don't know, she's about the first, and they don't emphasize this, and her faith to trust in God was that she was one of the first women to sue in the court. Can't read, can't write, but the Quakers who she worked for paid for her lawyer. And why? In that time, you weren't supposed to send children from New York down south, not legally. But when she walked away from her master, he took one of her sons and sold him down south. And when you got down to Alabama and Mississippi, you might not come out. And so she said the Quakers offered to get a lawyer for her, $5. Now, woo, don't y'all wish you can get a lawyer for $5 today? But so she went to the lawyer, couldn't read or write, and he represented the case. And so she eventually won. But that took faith for her to trust that who's going to hear a Black woman who's uneducated and believe? And she had to fight the system because they lied. They told her young boy, not to acknowledge and say and have him lie that he wanted to stay with their master because they were good to him. But she trusted in the Lord and won. But what is so important about her today is, first of all, your voice, I want you to realize, is your greatest asset. And when I say voice, I'm talking about your writing, your voice. What God has put in each one of you on this line? What has God called you to do that you're not speaking about? What gifts and talents and purpose? Because if we don't stand together, guess what? You remember she said, if all you women here together, we can turn this world back up. We see the 300,000 women, mostly women of color, have been laid off. We see we see changes of DEI and so forth. But this woman, uneducated, Sojourner Truth, spoke in 1851, got up, wasn't invited. They didn't want her. Why they didn't want her? The white women didn't want her because they didn't want her talking about slavery, and plus she was uneducated and considered ignorant to address women's rights, and they thought she was going to talk about slavery, and that would distract from their rights. The men and other people didn't want them because they didn't want to talk about slavery. But when she got up there, she began to address the issues that she heard. And just as today, what is relevant, we must address the issues that we are hearing, to use voice with courage and with faith. You see, courage is not the absence of fear. It's doing it scared anyway. You got to have the faith to believe that faith without works is dead. So if you have a voice or something that you're not using, what is it that you're not using that God has told you to do? I'll say it again. And using it and opening your mouth with courage. And sometimes we got to take tiny steps, but you need to begin again. Her legacy to us is that even in 2026, your voice is important. Your faith to know that God has called you to something and that you need to take action. We can't no longer sit still. We've got to learn to collaborate as Black women, and we've got to come together to begin to open our mouths and speak up. Yes, we're in corporate cultures, and we have to be careful about the corporate culture you're in to know it. But what action can you take to advance, number one, your community? Also to advance yourselves. You seeing that we've been told as Black women that you work hard, keep your nose to the grind, and you all are all experts. You helping everyone else, but do you get the promotion? Do you get the accolades? You become a task person, but not the promotion, not the recognition. How many times have you sat in a place and you've had an idea and you second guess yourself because we've been taught we're not enough. Even if you're educated, you're more degree than anybody else. Now, this woman was uneducated, no degree, but she used the gift of her voice to speak up um, about inequity. She spoke up for women's rights. When she said, I can work as hard as any man if I was to do the speech for you. And I have portrayed Sojourner Truth because she is she's my hero in terms of just the fact of her to speak up. She would point out to them and she would ask them, challenge the things she heard them say. They would say that a woman couldn't do this or that because God wasn't a woman. And what was her retort? I want to know, where did your God come from? How did she use the voice? I want to know, where did your God come from? From man, from God, and a woman. From who? God and a woman. And man ain't had nothing to do with it. So even with her uneducated, yet in 2026, Black women, women of color are some of the most degreed women. We have expertise, but some of us are playing small. We are shrinking our voice, and we are not using it in a way in our language and our forms of communication to get the recognition and influence that we want, that we deserve. And that's include what we want in terms of new opportunities to lead, revenue, yes, impact and influence. But Sojourner had great impact. Now, she even met with Frederick Douglass. Now, with her, she's told Frederick was kind of snooty to her because she was uneducated. But one time she had to tell when Frederick got depressed about the slavery issues wasn't progressing, she said to Frederick, Frederick, is God dead? She had that much faith. And even if though things were hard and she had to, sometimes crowds would spit on her, she would still use her voice because she had the faith that God had called her, even though she wasn't educated. And then she was also smart enough to monetize herself. They wrote a book up to it, and she's began to sell that book. That's how she got funds to have her own house in Battle Creek. So Sojourner has input. The number one, that your courage, so you have to stand on your conviction, and it takes courage. Sometimes you got to do it as scared. You got to speak up. Your voice is your leadership asset. The whole your writing, your speaking, even though she couldn't read and write. And also is that you have a legacy to lead, and you must go forth with that legacy. So I want to tell you about, I help women leaders to elevate their expertise to gain influence by the use of strategic, persuasive communication skills that bring opportunities that open the doors for impact, influence, and revenue. And so I have a workshop, a masterclass for you called Courage to Speak. It's a VIP one, where we would go on to take steps in action. I've introduced you to why she is not just about history, she's about today, what we need to do. She sets an example for the courage, the faith you need today, but how we can take action steps to utilize our voice to give us the revenue, the impact, and the influence that we need as women leaders. Also have the platinum one where we take it even a step forward, where we would go and we would have some interaction, more interaction, and to work on that. So I want to thank you, and I want you to ask you to remember that that Sojourner's Truth voice. She says she lets you know that you are capable, that you have the expertise, that you can do all things through Jesus Christ. You got some. She would be proud to know all you women got these degrees. She would be proud that you'd be able to open your mouth, and she would look at you if you didn't open to speak up to help one other. And she always reached back to others. She met with Harriet Tubman, and she because she's older than Harriet Tubman, and she also went to the White House to speak with Abe Lincoln so that she wants to encourage soldiers to be able to fight in the Civil War and also to find housing for them. She used her voice to help others, not just herself, to speak up. And so we can do that too, that you can still see how relevant she is. And this AI, we're going to hear more about that. She would say AI cannot take your judgment. AI can get information quick, but you are the source of everything. AI doesn't have the judgment. AI doesn't have your heart. AI hasn't had the compassion. AI hasn't experienced that human link that you all have experienced. So I want to thank you today for joining us. I want to thank you for coming. And remember, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn this world upside down, and Sojourner Truth, all by herself, uneducated, was brave enough and had the faith to make a difference and impact, we can do it today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. That was great. And she did mention her upcoming event that this presentation, we welcome you being here, is actually an introduction for you all to know what we're doing and to offer you an opportunity to learn more on each of our topics. So Linda did share that she's doing a presentation. Linda, let's give us the date again.
It's on August the 15th.
August 15th. It's going to be
1
on
p.m.
Zoom, right?
Yes.
So you will be having an opportunity, if what you're learning and hearing today gives you interest that you want to learn more, then definitely consider becoming a VIP if one of our presentations really stood out to you and you wanted to hear more and go deeper. Or if you want all four of the presentations, we have two levels. So there's $47 to get one of our presentations and some other handouts and information, video. Now, I had planned on showing video from Linda as Sojourner Truth and Harriet, me as Harriet, but today YouTube didn't want us to do that. So I decided I would add that to the package for the VIP, the actual video. Linda and I presented a conversation where the two ladies got together at the Harriet Tubman home and had a nice conversation. So that would be a part of the package as well. So keep that in mind as we go on and learn more about these women. So my presentation is on freedom, and freedom as far as Harriet Tubman. Now, most of you on here know me and know that I portray Harriet and have been for over 25 years. Now, people know a lot about Harriet Tubman, but they don't know, I don't think they know as much as I do. People know about the Underground Railroad. They know that she lived in Maryland. Did you know that she was a businesswoman? That Harriet Tubman was a businesswoman. So I was sharing the clip of Harriet being a uh, volunteer soldier in the Civil War. I say soldier, but she didn't actually fight on the battles. She was behind the scenes doing many other things. So Harriet Tubman joined the Civil War. She was a nurse. She was a scout. She was a spy. And doing all that she was to support the U.S. Army, because she knew before the war started that that was going to end slavery. She was fortunate enough to be, once she found her own freedom, connect with the abolitionists. And she would be one that would be speaking to the abolitionists about what slavery was actually like. She and Frederick Douglass together would be in meetings. So she learned how this government worked, and she believed, as she was in discussions, that this war would end slavery. During the time the war started, she was sent to South Carolina to be actually to help the people learn how to take care of themselves. So she did that. Do you know that she was the first woman to lead a gun raid? You learn that in the video. But she also, after many people, almost 800 people was freed in one event, one morning event that she had helped lead this gun raid. Well, she took the women in her cabin in the evening, and they cooked pies and gingerbread and root beer, and the women would sell it to the soldiers and make a little money. And she also established a laundry where the women would learn to sew and clean the uniforms of the soldiers. So you see, Harriet had many ways to help people be free. And this is where I want to stop and ask you to participate in the chat. Give me some examples of freedom, what you think about as freedom. What does freedom mean to you? And I'm going to pause for a minute because I want to get your responses. What does freedom mean to you? So if you would put your answers in the chat, I would appreciate it. Voting, somebody said, Don, thank you. Voting is freedom, to be able to say who you want as your leader, not someone to say, you belong to me and you do what I say. Being able to be educated and go to school. Thank you. Right. What's some other ones? Travel where you want to go, housing, free, be able to go live where you want to live. We have grown up in a time where there was redlining. Some of us remember that, where we couldn't live in certain places, so had a hard time. Freedom of religion, spiritual choices, yes. Even fear of is opportunity. Trust God, set me free. Watch what He does for me. All right, Oni. Luna Vibe, God plays playlist on the YouTube. Okay, great. Yes. So you're right. These are different ways that Harriet Tubman had freedom. And I have some more to share with you. If my slides are going to work right. Freedom, spiritual freedom, freedom of fear, financial freedom, to pursue your purpose, to feel your emotions and be able to express them as you are, freedom of your limited beliefs, freedom of debt, freedom of other ways that you can use your voice. So yes, we want to be freedom, and Harriet stands for all that. When I think about Harriet and what she was able to do and what she stands for, I say Harriet Tubman helped people find freedom for their lives. Our generation has the opportunity to help people build freedom for now, their present, and their future. And that's what I am all about these days, finding ways to help people find their freedom and live freedom. So I have used Harriet Tubman's stories to share my thoughts about the new Underground Railroad, the new Underground Railroad. And I'm looking for conductors to help me spread love in actions. So let me explain that a little bit. This is my latest book. Harriet Tubman's spirit is guiding all of us to love in actions. And when I mean that, we put love in all our actions, what we do, what we say, what we think, how we look at people without the criticism and judgment. And if you think about the Underground Railroad of Harriet Tubman's time, it was all about people helping other people. So this is the way that I want to help us move forward. And it takes a community effort. Faith, hope, purpose, leadership, and possibilities. Financial freedom is one that can help us move forward. I have some ideas that I want to share. I'm not sharing them all today. I'm giving you some information on what's to come, what I'm working on. And I have an upcoming webinar, which would be going deeper into these ways that we all can be a part of the new Underground Railroad. We all have things we can do. Harriet Tubman was one woman. She made a decision that she was going to be free physically at first. I think her mind was already free. She believed in herself. She loved herself. And that led her to seek the freedom, totally of her freedom. So it's all about being able to do something that can make a difference. Harriet Tubman did not wait until she had great wealth, large organizations. She did what she did because it was time. I have an imagine where I am able to bring communities together, helping communities and help us help each other. So I'll be sharing in my program coming up on August, end of August, about my business plan. My husband and I have joined a company that has allowed me to figure out how to make this happen, to have these communities come together, have women leaders, family creating abundance, and practicing our love in actions. And so I'm looking for women who want to also walk with the freedom, help families walk towards their greater freedom. Some of you on this line were part of my Harriet Tubman 3LC training program. Well, I'm going to bring that back out where I teach self-love and confidence through my books, and we get together in webinars and help people discover their gifts and purposes in life and encourage them to think about finances. And I found a way to do that where it support the women who are becoming Harriet Tubman 3LC, which is Love, Leadership, and Legacy Coach, and be able to also earn money while we're serving our communities. So this could be part of your legacy. That's how I see it. I'm looking at leaving a legacy where we come together and make a difference in the lives of our families, our children, our community. And we don't have to be Harriet Tubman. We only have to have the willing and the feeling of the purpose in our hearts to make the changes. So I have put together this QR code that you might want to take out on your phone if you can. If not, here's the hyperlink. I developed a quiz. This quiz has 17 questions, and I will put this link in the chat if you can't use the QR code. And when you go through these questions, it's going to ask you your idea of joy, what kind of things you're interested in, what type of activities you do that you enjoy doing. And at the end, it's going to give you a report of how you might express your passion and what kind of business, if you're interested in doing something on the side, or if you're retired and just want something else to do that can show your love and give you opportunity to give back, then this would be the first step to identifying that. And so then my workshop is going to be on Saturday the 29th. It's here on Zoom. And this is when I'm going to go deeper into how I am finding ways to build financial future and how anybody. I say women because I'm mostly for women, but this is open for men and women as well. And I appreciate all the men that join us in our discussions and this presentation as well. And it's all about showing you, going over your own surveys if you have questions or anything, um, but also giving you an opportunity to learn more about how I'm doing it and giving you some suggestions of ways that you might also participate in my new Underground Railroad. So again, just let you know that it is an opportunity that you can have at the end of this presentation. Uh, we have heard two presentations. For $47, you can select one of those. And then if you really want to go further in all our presentations, it's $97 to get them all. And now, let's see. And next we have Joyce A. Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again. I want to welcome some people who came in after we started. I think Stephanie, Gail, I think I saw Avi come in, Ron, David, all of you. We're just very glad that you're here. And I'm very grateful to be able to talk about my spiritual, ancestral, I'll say, mentor, Maggie Lena Walker, and also to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing as a businesswoman. As I said, I am Joyce Barnes. I'm the founder of the Black Endowment, and I am here to talk about Maggie Lena Walker, but also about the Black Endowment. And I'm hoping to be able to convince you to become a charter member of this nonprofit organization. So I want to start with a question. Do you know a child in Generation Alpha? Do you know children? Those are the children born roughly between 2010 and 2024, and they're described as the first generation to be born entirely in the 21st century and the third millennium. So that makes them historic and special, right? They're highly digital, independent, socially aware. And if you have one of these kids, put their name in the chat if you feel like it, just their first name. They are also, I think, some of the Gen Zers, the late Gen Zers. I have two of them. Somebody has called them Zalphas. I don't know why. But tell me, how would you describe the Gen Alphas that you know? And I can't see the chat. Let me see if I can see the chat. If you put, nope, I can't see the
I can
you
read
can
the
read
chat
them
for you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Because, yeah. So say some names for me if you have them, Tira.
Musa.
Ooh, yeah.
I have Ani saying they're mostly grandchildren.
Yeah, grandchildren, children, great grands. I have two grandchildren, Sky and Ocean. They're the Zalphas. Anybody else?
That's it for right now.
That's it? Okay. Well, you can probably see in front of you, you can see in front of you, this is the family of Brad and Lisa Kilgore from St. Louis. And I believe Lisa's daughter, Avi L, is on the call with us. She sent me this photo. She said that her mother had 21 grandchildren. I talked to her mother yesterday. She has 28 grandchildren. And she has a lot of Gen Alphas. They both have a lot of Gen Alphas, and here are some of them in this picture. They are incredible because they are at the cusp of a new point in history, this third millennium. But they're not the original. They're not the OG incredible children. They have what I call high potential, historic high potential, but they're not the OG ones. There was a group that came before them that were what also born at a very pivotal point in our history. You may know some of them. I call them the OG Alphas. And they were all born at the tail end or after slavery ended. Um, and can you imagine um, growing up in the time when your parents had been slaves, a lot of them, but you are free. You're the first generation that's free. You probably recognize some of them. Two of my favorites are Charles Young and Maggie Lena Walker, who I'm going to talk about. 175 years roughly ago, this generation produced many incredible people, but not all of them were as well known. And I think Maggie Lena Walker is one of those incredible high potential people who has been lost to some degree to history. Not a lot of people know who she is, but she was born in 1864, so right at the end of slavery. And she grew up to become the first African American woman to charter and run a bank. She used to deliver laundry for her mother. She learned about making money. She learned what power having some control over your finances could give to you. And she wanted that for her entire community, for the Black community. And so she chartered the bank, and that bank lasted in some form until I think it was 2011. So over 100 years. And that's why she's my spiritual mentor, because that is what I want to do. I want to create an organization that will last 100 years or more. I'm going to talk more about Maggie Lena Walker. I'm actually going to have her speak. But first, I want to tell you something about, I'll come back to this one too, about the Black Endowment. So we are a community-powered endowment whose mission is to help African American families build generational wealth. And we believe that wealth is not only money, it's also culture. So there are two sides or two focuses of the Black Endowment. One is financial literacy, wealth management, retirement planning, and other kinds of financial activities. And the other is family history, family legacy, and passing those things, both things, down to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and frankly, descendants that we will never meet. So we set this up as an endowment, and an endowment is a very trustworthy and safe financial vehicle. We use the analogy of a tree, where the endowment works like the tree itself. Once you plant it, it's there, and it continues to grow. And every year once it matures, it gives fruit. And that fruit is the earnings, the things that we will use to run the Black Endowment. So the principal that goes into the endowment, it stays there, but the interest income from that endowment will be used to power our organization. Now, we're doing this for asking African American households for $1 per month. And I first heard about this idea of $1 per month when I lived in Baltimore. I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I thought it was a great idea at the time. And I asked people, why didn't that ever happen? And what they said, almost to a person, is we don't trust each other. But what if we had trusted each other? If in 1980, the 150,000 households, African American households, all invested $1 a month, we would, over the 46 years that takes us to today, have an endowment with contributions that totaled $82.8 million. That's the contributions of 150,000 households, $1 a month. When that money is invested, and we're just going to use the 8%, that's the average return, that 82 million today would be worth $700 million. This is what the households would have contributed in those 42 years. $552 per household. This is how much the fund would have grown, up to 700 million in that same time because of the interest. And from that 700 million, which is the principal, 30 to 38 million every year would be generated from just a portion, just 4% of 5% spending of that invested, of that money that came from the investments. I hope I'm explaining this well, but I'll go over it a couple of times. 30 to 38 million. Now, what could we do with an income like that today to help our community? I say that we could do a lot. So the Black Endowment uses that $1 a month business model, but we are targeting the 10 million African American households, self-identified households in the United States. At $1 per household, beginning in 2027, continuing for 50 years at 8%, just the average. A lot of investments are higher than that, or returns are higher than that, but just at the average of 8%, we could generate $120 million per year. And then over 50 years, our contributions would be $6.8 billion. That's just the contributions of $1 a month, right? Invested at 8%, that 68.8 billion becomes so much more. It becomes, I don't know why my number is not here, but I believe it's like 120 billion, some really high number. And from that, we could generate an income of $27 to $32 billion per year to fund things like scholarships, help with home buying assistance, small businesses, financial literacy programs, which is what we're focusing on, and genealogy and family legacy initiatives, and just so many other community development investments. And this is from our own money. This is the difference between charity and ownership. It is the difference between looking to someone else for assistance and collectively owning this asset, which is the Black Endowment, for the community. And endowment funds can function into perpetuity. So this will benefit generations we will never know. It's been done before. Maggie Lena Walker, as I told you earlier, started the St. Luke's Penny Savings Bank. I'm going to play a short clip of an interview, a reenacted interview with Maggie Lena Walker, someone portraying Maggie Lena Walker, and then we'll come back and talk about the piggy bank.
What is the best part about your work? I mean, your mission.
We're not seeing it. Are you trying to share?
Yeah.
I can hear it, but I don't see it.
Okay.
Today, we have almost 100,000 members and over $500,000 in our account.
If you can see it in your mind and work towards it with your hands, then you will fulfill your plans.
That's right. First, we set out to start the newspaper. Now, we journalists know that no enterprise which has to deal with the public can be pushed successfully without a newspaper. Our paper, the St. Luke Herald, is a weekly newspaper that keeps our members informed about what's happening in our community.
Okay, I'm going to stop this here because that is a video that goes on to talk about the newspaper she started, the Emporium, the store, and the bank. And I will put the link to that at the end of this, or I'll put it in the chat if anyone wants to go and look at it. But I didn't want to run out of time. So let me go back and get back to my presentation. So she gave out, before she opened the bank, she gave out piggy banks to children so that children would learn the habit of savings. And when the bank opened, she had several hundred children open an account with their piggy bank money. And it could have been a nickel or it could have been $1, but they became owners of their own assets, of their savings. And that's what we want to do as well. I'm asking you to become one of the first 100 charter members of this organization. We need to show that this model works, and we need to show ourselves that we can trust each other. So as a charter member, you will be part of that proof of concept, and you will help to build this organization from the foundation. You will be the alpha members of the Black Endowment. And even if you're not interested in joining right now and you want to learn a little bit more, you can go to my website here. But I hope after you had a chance to learn more that you will share this idea within your network. I would love to be invited to come and speak about this within organizations that you know. And I do have a board already, but I do need some volunteer leaders to help us build the foundation for this 100-year-plus organization. Now, I want to talk quickly about, this is a tip that I want to give everyone. It's about the 530A individual retirement accounts, otherwise known as general accounts, So these are accounts that you can open as a parent, as a grandparent, as a great-grandparent for any child, any alpha generation, 18 and under. And if they were born within the last year, in the next 2 or 3 years, the government will put $1,000 into the account for them. Okay? If they are older, if they were born before 2025, you as parents, grandparents, business, your job, anyone can put up to $5,000 into these accounts, and they're held in the name of the parents or the grandparents until the child is 18. So I want to talk about the power of time. When that child turns 18, they can take the money out. So let's say you have a child and there's that $1,000 that goes in, and you make no additional monthly contributions after that $1,000, and you just keep it in there at an 8% interest for, I have 44 years until they're 60 years old. So this is someone who starts at about 16. And when you use this calculator, you will see that in that time, that $1,000 grows to $29,500. That's with putting no more money in after the initial $1,000 investment. If you put $50 in every month for that same period of time, the amount you will have at the end of that same 44 years, it goes from $29,000 to $243,725. So I am not advocating for Trump accounts, trust me. But if you are, and you have a child who can get that $1,000, you want to open an account, it's really easy to do. You can just go to irs.gov. That $1,000 goes in there. You don't put another cent in, and your child at retirement age will have 29,000. Put $50 in every month or any amount over time. At some point, they can put their own money in, right? And leave it there until 59 and a half, because these are like IRA accounts. And that amount that will accumulate is $243,000 plus. There are other vehicles besides the Trump account, but I hope that, you guys who have alpha generations will take the time to look into that and see if this is something that you want to do for your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. This is the kind of information we want to share through the Black Endowment. Everyone does better when everyone does better. And I appreciate you guys for listening to me. And I'm going to turn it back over to Karol now.
Thank you, Joyce. So you see, faith, freedom, financial future. You see where we're coming from. These women have inspired us. We have listened and learned about their lives, and we have taken it in, and we want to we're standing on their shoulders, and we're inviting you all to be a part of this. Now, we know that the future is now with artificial intelligence. And so for those who don't know, I just want to add, Joyce is my sister. And next, you're going to meet my daughter, Atiara B. Gordon. So let's give it to Atiara.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining. And we heard about faith, we heard about freedom, financial futures, and I am going to share AI. Going to share how to win with AI. Over the past, actually, it hasn't been long. Over the past couple of months, I was about to say years. It feels when you're dealing with AI, everything moves so fast. Over the past few months, I'd say early spring, I started to study under Alicia Little, who is known as the Queen of AI in many circles. And I want to share with you guys just one aspect of how you can use AI in your daily work. Like if you are, so this presentation is all about going from an idea to influence. And I am going to show you guys today how AI can help you turn your expertise into a presentation that educates, inspires, and drives action. And I'll say, those were really nice slides that you had, Joyce, and I'm sure, wink, wink, that you used AI. I saw the calculations. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm Atiara B. Gordon, and for years, I've studied visual communications, and I've watched brilliant people with decades of knowledge and experience struggle to communicate ideas that deserved a much bigger stage. Not because they lacked something to say, because they lacked the system for saying it the way it deserved to be said. So that's why I've built this 5-step system that has the potential to change the way you think about building presentations forever. And today I'm going to share it with you. Has anyone ever stared at a screen and just couldn't come up with anything to say when you had a presentation to create? If that's happened to you, why don't you drop a yes in the chat? And if I can't see the chat, and I know you guys are may not have the chats up, but if that is you, you're in the right place right now. Right place, right time. So
You're definitely getting some yeses.
okay.
Writer's block.
Writer's block, absolutely. So you guys are gonna be pumped, and you're gonna be ready to win with AI after this conversation. So the blank slide, it's not just frustrating, it's also expensive. It costs you time, and time lost in hesitation, you'll never get back. It costs you confidence. Every moment chips away at your credibility quietly and steadily. And it costs you opportunities. So while you stall, someone else is walking through that door. And so every time we leave an idea inside our heads because we couldn't figure out how to present it, someone else who needed that idea, they won't get it because it's stuck. But there is a better way. So you already have the expertise. Can we all agree that we already have the knowledge? We already have the expertise. Now, AI helps you communicate it at a level it deserves. And this is the only thing I want you to remember today. AI is not here to replace your expertise. It's here to amplify it. And everything else that I'll share with you is proof that these two things are true. You have the expertise, AI is here to amplify it. Now, some of you joined today with a question that you may not have said out loud. And that question might be, is AI going to replace my expertise? Is it going to replace me? Is AI going to make what I do less valuable? And the answer is no. And I'm not just saying that to be reassuring, and I'm going to show you why. So we've addressed the role of AI. Let's look at the system that'll make it all possible. This is 5 easy, quick steps to build a dynamic AI, a dynamic presentation. You can just leave the AI off, because from this moment on, everybody who's pumping out information at a fast pace, at a high level, they've dipped their toes into AI in some way, shape, or form. So we can just say 5 steps to how to build a presentation. Step 1 is clarity. You have to define your topic. So the first thing you want to do is define your topic. Know what you are presenting on. Know your audience. And know your goal before you touch any tool. So step 1 is clarify. Step 2 is prompt. We want to use AI to generate a complete outline in seconds. So a complete outline of a presentation that may be 5 slides, 10 slides, 25 slides. As long as we really spend a few minutes in step 1 to really clarify the goal, then step 2 becomes so much easier. Step 3 is strengthen. So elevate the language and clarity with AI. Step 4, visualize. So create professional visuals with AI without being a designer, without have gone to design school. Now, if you are on this call and you have gone to design school, you are not left out because you can use this too, and probably at a much higher level. And then step 5 is deliver. Walk into any room with complete confidence. Now I'm going to walk through each step, and then I'm going to show you how all 5 work together live. By the time we're done today, you will know exactly how to use this system to build your next presentation. Not someday, but this week if you want to. Okay, so our journey begins with a crucial first step. Clarify. 3 questions. That's it. What is my topic? And I want you to be specific, not broad. Who is my audience? Not everyone. I want you to be very specific as to who you are speaking to. And what do I want them to think, to feel, or to do when I'm done? So, what's the goal? Write those things down before you open any AI tool, and your answers become your foundation. Everything AI builds for you comes from these 3 questions. So 5, 10, 15 minutes of clarity will save you hours of frustration later. So think about a presentation that you want to build. So I'm talking to you guys. Think about a presentation that you may want to build, and then answer the 3 questions in your head, or if you want to jot them down, and then hold those answers. And maybe after this call, you'll jump right in and try to do it yourself. All right, so once you have clarity, the next step is to leverage AI to kickstart your creation process. Step 2 is a prompt. You take everything you clarified in step 1 and turn it into 1 to 2 sentences. Paste it into your preferred AI tool. For this demonstration, I am going to use ChatGPT, and it's going to take about 30 seconds to build out a complete outline versus, 30 minutes, 3 hours. No more blank slide syndrome. And then with your outline in hand, it's time to refine your message and make it truly impactful. So step 3 is strengthen. You have your outline from step 2, and now you use AI to elevate the language. You give your content and ask it to make the verb stronger, to speak directly to the audience gains rather than describing what you do. Speak to what they'll gain rather than describing what you will do. And then notice what changed. The verb went from passive to active. The sentences went from describing to connecting. And that is a persuasion principle. And AI applied it in seconds. So it's the same knowledge, just a much, much stronger signal. Step 4, visualize. This is where most people feel stuck, but AI can change everything. You can create professional visuals in minutes without needing a design degree. And then your content is the same, but the vehicle for delivering it has completely transformed. And I'm going to show you this live after this slide. So this step is all about you. The system has prepared you for it. This is step 5, and this is where you deliver. You walk in knowing that you're ready, because after today, you will be. Now, as promised, I am going to demonstrate these 5 steps, and let me do a quick time check. I think I have enough time to give you what you need on this call. So I'm going to stop my presentation, and I have pulled up ChatGPT. Hopefully this screen is familiar to most of you guys. I have my prompts already set up so that I can make this quick and easy. So step 1 is to clarify. I help leaders in education go from AI confusion to leadership clarity. So I am focusing on leaders in education. And so what I'm asking AI to do is create a professional 6-slide presentation with those 3 questions filled in. And within seconds, what do we have here? We have an outline of all 6 slides for the presentation. And yeah, that's cool. If we read line number 1, it says what we need to say. But what is step 3? Step 3 is what? I can't hear you guys, but I know that you are saying it in your mind, strengthen. And so for step 3, I am going to ask ChatGPT to improve these bullets, improve this presentation. And so I don't know if you saw what the initial slide 1 was, but with the improvement, it's gone deeper and deeper. So one thing that I always want you to remember when you're working with AI, you do not have to take the first answer that it gives. Always ask it to do more, because guess what? It can do more. And the more that you work with it, the better it gets. And next, we have all of our slides, but it's not in slide form. Right now, it's just in the layout form. So what I did was step number 4, visualize. Now I'm asking Chat to convert what we built as a layout into actual PowerPoint slides. And it did that in a matter of seconds. And so what do we have here? Now we have a layout of slides, but it's still pretty basic, right? There's no images, there's nothing in here that's really a wow factor. But what did I say? We never take the first response. Now I'm going to ask, just for time's sake, I'm going to ask Chat to create a visual, a hero image for my slide 2. So what is slide 2 saying? Slide 2 is saying, don't lead with AI, lead with purpose. And so as that's building out that image, I did go ahead and do this beforehand. So this is the image that it quickly created. What was that? Less than a minute for slide 2. And this will be what let's see. This is the presentation. It went from basic, we just got our basic outlines, to asking for images, and our 6-page leadership presentation turns into something that is memorable, something that is unique, something that is alive, something that can actually give your audience the information they need, how you want to give it to them. And I think I am at time, but what I will say is, if you're interested and if you love AI, but you just want more, then if you upgrade to a VIP, you get the recording, the full recording that you have today. You can also choose one of our offers. If you loved every single presentation today, then there is the VIP, not the VIP, the Platinum. And have you already discussed Platinum, Ma?
Yeah, it's up on the slide. I'm trying to share that again.
Okay. The Platinum, where not only would you receive one of our presentations, but you receive all of them. And then I'll say this too, next Sunday, I am having a workshop where I am going to take my time and go slower. And you will come in with an idea and you will leave with a full presentation. And that would be included in the Platinum package.
So you all have gotten a great overview of how Chat GPT or Claude or whichever you want. You had Canva on there. That's another um, chat. That's another AI where you can do a lot of great graphics. So this was just an opportunity for us to be able to share what we're doing. So we are all available for more information. Again, if you want to go further with one of our topics, also get the video of Linda and myself as Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth having a conversation. And could be some more digital information that we will download to you, send to you, then you will get that one. And if you want all four of these presentations, which would cost more than $97 if you bought them individually, but we have this as a special offer. So Tiara, can you put the link in the chat again? Because the link is here. And again, we want to say what dates. Tiara, is yours first? Yours is when?
Yes,
Next
so
Sunday?
I'll be going deeper with an AI presentation intensive, which is going to be either a 60 to 90-minute live via Zoom workshop, and that's going to be next Sunday, August the 9th.
Right. And then Joyce, yours is also on a Sunday?
Yeah, mine is the 23rd of August at 6 o'clock. And I'm going to focus on the other part of the Black Endowment, um, other than the financial wealth creation. We want to talk about family history wealth creation. So I'm going to help people start who are interested, start or continue their family tree, talk about some resources, show what kinds of things are possible for preserving and sharing the stories, the legacies, the artifacts of your family history. Every family has a history worth telling and worth preserving and worth passing down to the generations to come. But I wanted to say, if I could say one thing real quick, I'm very sorry that I didn't say that before, but if I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
Can you
it's
see
hard
this?
to see with your background.
Well, I have a book, Banking on Freedom. I'll put these in the chat. That's an excellent book, not only about Maggie Lena Walker, but also about other Black women in banking. And then I have two books for the Alpha generation, the Generation Alpha. One is a coloring book, and one is a sort of ties what she did to STEM today. So if you join as a charter member, you will be entered into a raffle for one of these books. And we have two. So two raffles. Sorry, I had to put that at the end.
Linda, did you want to remind people what date yours is?
August the 15th at 1 o'clock. Is mine.
So Linda and mine are on Saturdays, and Atiara and Joyce's are on Sundays. We will make sure you get this information as we will send you a updated thank you for being here email and let you know what's still available to you. And we hope that you have enjoyed this information and we'll share it with others. And we hope to see you in our future workshops. So thank you again for being here. Tiara said hers is August 9th. A AI presentation intensive. I think all of us have a lot more to share. And so, yes, please do join us. Thank you, everyone.